inside of me. You liked that chicken, didn't you? Is your mouth burning? Are you feeling the lava in your skull?
Welcome back to Just Roll It Already. I'm Daryl.
This is Kyle.
And I'm John.
Today we're going to be doing the paranoia in the game topic. And in short, what we're talking about is when players are overly paranoid with every action the GM sets out. You're in a room, I look for traps. I go down the hallway, I look for traps. The man sitting before you, I make sure my weapon is drawn and at the ready to kill him. In short, people who just take things to an extreme and just too paranoid. The player versus GM mentality, in short.
I wouldn't call it player versus GM. It's player be afraid of being killed by GM.
Yeah.
Or trying to beat GM, in short. Because every single time, okay, you see somebody eyeing you down the alleyway, what do? I shoot it! Or I chase it down. It turns out to be a child watching you.
Yeah.
John?
I didn't shoot a child as a vampire. Anyway, moving on. The best way to combat, if you're really worried about paranoia, and let them make the check, but don't let them make another roll.
The paranoia aspect of gaming, I will be honest. Okay, if you're in a dungeon or unfamiliar area that you know is chock full of danger, or you're in a place that there's some bad people out, or it feels a little bit awkward in the area you're not familiar with, it's fine to be paranoid. But if you're paranoid of everywhere you go, every single place you be, as if you're going to suddenly be attacked and killed at any moment that you let your guard down. They sleep with one eye open. They check everything, and it's ridiculous. And they never stop, and it's usually taking out of character knowledge to the extreme.
Like what kind of instances? If it's not in an appropriate area.
Let's see. All right. Let's go with a He Who Shall Not Be Gamed story really quick for an analogy here. Now, I was doing a game with him once, and everything I put out there, every person he ran across, he would interrogate and kill on the spot.
Wow.
Anybody. Like, okay, you see, you're supposed to meet this guy, and he says, "Who are you?" and blah, 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 and like right to the king, or right to the most powerful man in town. And you know what? The guy was going to be working with you for a while, or he was just going to try to get something out of you in the process. But now you've gone and made him an enemy.
You done goofed.
Yeah, you done goofed. He would sit there and go all out on these poor people. He would sit there and beat up on them. He'd sit there and go off the rails just to make sure that he won. And just his paranoia. If you're in the room and I say there's nothing, he's going to keep on looking until he finds the item in the room. He's just going to keep on doing that.
You can't allow him to do that.
No, you can't.
It's like you make it one roll, and it's like that's the result of all of your work.
Yes.
I checked again. All of your work.
Yes, and or taking 20 or taking 10 or whichever, because they think there might be something in the room. And the truth of the matter, there's nothing. Because he thinks every room has a treasure, or every place has something, and he can push you to the point that he can get what he wants. But that's a different aspect of what we're talking about. We're talking about a person who thinks there's something out to get him everywhere, or there's something there, it's just that they don't get it.
Well, that's actually, I think, a mentality every gamer goes through at one point. Well, at least when it comes to role playing.
But they're so used to the whole aspect of letting it down, and then you get killed. But that's something that you have to fall into the trust of the game master. There's some game masters who are notorious for doing this, who continually kill people or screw them out of something because they missed one final detail.
Yeah, Daryl.
Hey, I don't care.
Actually, that I would actually say is kind of Jeremiah. With Jeremiah's games, he's got a lot going on. He's got stuff going on in the background. If you don't notice what's going on, it ends up coming back to bite you,
Not
even
really.
if it's a small detail.
I'm gonna say not really. His worlds are very organic, so you missing a detail just has a repercussion, not necessarily good or bad.
It just happens.
Well, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I'm saying that even a small detail could be one that could be a big thing later.
Actually, you know what? I have a good analogy or a good thing, an example that's causes paranoia and drives it. One of your games, Kyle.
Really?
Yes, that big city, the one with the whole we're all there and I'm the gunslinger and all that stuff. The one that we played that second game with Matt being the Holy Dragon Paladin thing.
Yeah.
Now, everything I started developing paranoia, and I realized what I was doing, so I stopped. I had to stop doing that. I had to stop looking for all dangers all around. Some places I had good reason to, like the sewers.
Ooh.
Okay,
Yeah.
that place, you had reason to be paranoid because there was monsters down there that would tangle you up, drag you under the water, and eat you.
Yeah, you're in any other game you're gonna run into. You're always gonna think twice about going into a sewer after that.
I think, who the hell's in charge of this place, and how could they let this happen? Those idiots.
The great and almighty Pooh. That's who's down there. He does a
But-
sing-along.
But then again, even every interaction I came with people, everything I did had negative repercussions. Positive, no matter I tried to do something positive, it had negative repercussion. Everything I did, it made it to the point that I wanted to kill everybody I ran across to make sure that they couldn't do anything to me. But if I did that, negative repercussions for good reasons.
Not necessarily. You did run into some people that gave you some good things for like the children you saved, the family that you had back at the mansion, some officials that you had met along the way.
Yeah,
but those are some other things.
Those are small things, but majority of the time I was getting my butt kicked. And John also had the same problem too.
What?
In his game, repercussions for every actions you did.
I was actually in your first game, not in the second or third game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were in the second game.
No. You're thinking, okay, it was Jeremiah, Matt,
Me and Anthony.
Yep.
Oh gosh. But even then, let's see. Oh, and Sean.
And Sean.
Sean.
Yeah, Sean got beat up pretty bad too.
How so?
Let's see, what was he? He was the rogues trainer.
Yeah, he was the rogue apprentice to the assassin.
Okay, based on somebody's actions, his master got killed, and therefore the apprentice was going after him to make revenge.
Sweet revenge.
Yes, and that was something that was going to drive paranoia for him because he started getting afraid of everywhere he went, who he would talk to. Out of character, he knew what was going to happen. In character, he couldn't do what he knew and what would happen because all of a sudden he'd say, I make sure that nobody's following me.
Yeah, at the same time, I'm kind of a paranoia junkie. I like making in game. I like making a player like, whoa, what's gonna happen?
That's something that causes paranoia. But in our world today, do we have to be paranoid of everything?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Every single time I open my refrigerator, I'm not expecting a harpoon to shoot out and gut me.
If you're a Republican, you do, because it's an evil liberal conspiracy.
Okay, but the things that cause us to be afraid: unfamiliar territory, places that we can't fully understand, a zone that is we feel uncomfortable in. Okay,
Potential enemies.
potential enemies. Okay, I walk down the street in the neighborhood I am now. I know I'm comfortable and totally fine with it. If I go to, like, I don't know, a downtown of LA, I am on my guard 24/7 and I'm ready to punch somebody or stab them.
Carry a big bladed knife. Something you gut a person with.
Or a small baseball bat that uses a billy club.
Now you just pissed off any like downtown LA viewers we
I
had.
lived in LA for a little while. That place is scary. I got mugged twice in the same block.
That's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah,
It is.
well, it was kind of funny. The first time the guy says, "Give me your wallet and money," and I say, "You know what?" And I look at myself and wearing grungy clothing, and I had like a polyester wallet, and with $10, and I was like, "Okay." I handed it to him, and I said, "Whatever," and I walked away, and he's like, "Okay, whatever." And then I get to the end of the block, and a guy pulls a knife on me and says, "Give me your wallet." And I stopped and said, "Really? Really? Okay, this is the second time on this block. If you want my money, go down the block and talk to the guy in the red jacket
Who just mugged me.
who just mugged me. Okay? If you want to talk to him, talk to him. I got nothing. You can search me." He did. He said, "Turn out your pockets." Turn out my pockets. And he said, "Pat your back." Pat my back. "Open your bag." I don't have a bag. Okay? And you know what? That would cause me to be paranoid.
Yeah.
Okay? I knew what was going to happen because I left all my valuable stuff behind, and I only carried $10 in my pocket because a friend of mine who lived there before said carry enough money to make them satisfied, just not too much to make them think, or not too little to piss them off. Make it kind of worth their while.
What? No. You're like, no, yeah, and while they're going through the wallet, you take their knife and you cut their throat with it.
I'm not as brave as you are.
No, because what they do is they look down, and then you grab their hand, and you just, because they're going to have the knife still in their hand, and you just, like, knock it up into their face.
Oh no, it's
And
an
it gets
accident.
It gets them in the eye, the throat. But that's how you take care of a mugger. Anyway.
Okay. Well, going back to the part, it's
John being paranoid. But
unnecessary paranoia. How do you get rid of it?
unnecessary paranoia, you give them a reason to not be paranoid. Okay?
A charm, an amulet, something.
Okay, yes.
Trinkets.
They go.
Gubbins.
Then they start thinking of paranoia that they might miss treasure. What, for example, possibly only put it in some parts of the areas. Make them feel that, okay, some places are safe. Give them a sense of security in an area. They hit a dead end. It's a dead end. It's not a trap.
It's a dead end.
It's meant
Spikes.
to it's meant to confuse you and not cause you death or anything. One place I did, it was a labyrinth. There was nothing there to kill you besides wandering monsters that got lost in there that didn't require food, and those who did often found other creatures to eat.
It was a giant Darwinian experiment.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. There were no traps. There were pitfalls, but they were they would just lead to lower levels. And the point of it is to cause the person to get lost so they couldn't find the real treasure in the center of it, or in the end of it. That's to cause them, and they realize, oh my gosh, there's no traps here. The thing I gotta worry about is getting lost. Cause them to be paranoid for another reason. Getting lost, making marks, avoiding certain creatures, learning how the...
Yeah, safe paranoia, not I'm gonna die paranoia.
Yeah, make them think about their actions within reasonable rationality, not I'm gonna die with every aspect because the GM's out to kill me. That's gonna start a competition that destroys games. That's a destroyer of games and friendships. Unless you're playing with a game of people you don't like, then by all means, like cause death and mayhem everywhere.
I would say Mario Party is the destroyer of friendships.
So is Mario Kart.
I'd say more so Mario Party.
Munchkin's a destroyer of friends.
Ooh, Munchkin is, yes.
Yeah, Munchkin destroys friendships. Check out Steve Jackson Games. Great game. It is.
They're funny.
It destroys friendships, but it's awesome.
It builds alliances and destroys friendships.
Party lines are drawn. It's like, you used to be my wife. Now you're just my enemy.
I did play with my wife. That was funny.
Yeah.
She was... Oh, gosh, she's brutal. I was trying to be nice, and I realized I don't need to go easy on you because you're my wife. You're not going on easy on me. Paranoia.
Yeah. It's easy to be paranoid about people, because they're people. Can't trust them. They're shifty like hobbitses.
Okay, but some games are designed for paranoia. Okay, for example, an amnesia game. Nobody knows who each other are. Who's the real killer? Nobody knows who the real killer is. That causes paranoia.
Cthulhu, World of Darkness.
That's a cat with a switchblade.
Yeah.
Any genre that is dark.
Anything that drives up paranoia. I don't think paranoia while playing a game causes that for a reason of paranoia is no big deal. But as I said, where you feel safe and where you don't feel safe.
Right.
Okay. I know people who live in cities who feel safe in the city. The moment they go out in the wilderness, they're terrified.
Yeah, because they're afraid of the owls.
And
the
bears.
Mice.
Mice. And the owl bears. And the
weremice.
weremice.
The weremice and the owl bear mice.
Just afraid of mice in general.
All
mice
those
are a common
mice.
fear.
Yeah, of course they are. People are afraid of small little rodent things.
Put swarms of rats in freaking D&D games. You'll get some paranoid players.
Yeah. People have to learn to get out of the... Another thing, people need to get out of the mentality, this is a versus game. This is a story that you're following. Your goal as a game master is not to kill the players. Your goal as a game master is to cause an interesting story and challenge for the players to overcome. Now, do I admit that there are times I've outright tried to kill players? Oh, you better believe it. And they're for good reason, too. But other times, I look at it and say, why are you afraid I'm going to kill you? Okay? Yes, there's things you can kill in this game, but guess what? They're not going to hunt you down unless you give them reason to hunt down. You shouldn't... You're in the wilderness. I have a random table. I've had it where one party... in the Goblins game. Remember that time I had my randoms table?
Yeah.
Sometimes there would be sessions that would be nothing but combat.
And gubbins.
And gubbins. Other times, it was nothing at all. And few times, it was, hey, we keep on finding all this lost treasure for no apparent reason.
And gubbins.
And gubbins.
Lots of gubbins.
Lots and lots of gubbins.
If there's nothing in gubbins, combat in gubbins, or treasure and more gubbins.
Yay, gubbins.
I love gubbin points.
Yes, gubbin points. Quick thing before people ask what gubbin points are. I have a house rule. I got the idea originally from looking at the word GP and gold pieces. And then I got an idea because Jeremiah always uses British and English terms because he's Scottish, right?
What?
Or
He grew up watching BBC, of all things.
Oh, I thought he was originally from...
As an early child, he watched nothing but BBC. Now
Oh.
he has weird slangs.
Oh, okay. I thought he originally started some of his life in England.
No.
Okay. Good old Brits. We love you.
Oh, I got
So-
a few friends across the pond.
Same here. But okay. They looked at it and said, okay, well, he kept on saying gubbins all the time. It's like, we need the gubbins. And I'm like, oh, great. So I sat there and I realized, GP.
Gubbin points.
Gubbin points. And pretty much what it means is you kill the monster that's intelligent, like the bugbear. You have 35 gubbin points. You can translate that into equipment that would make sense instantly rather than going to a trader, or you can turn it into gold for later.
Yeah, you can either choose to have gold, or you can have
Gubbins.
gubbins.
Yep, stuff.
Just miscellaneous items. Has to be non-magical.
Straight from gear, non-combative.
Yeah, non-combat, non-magical, and non-alchemical.
Yep, all just plain mundane gear.
Oh, you can get kits and tools.
Yeah, and outfits, but somehow fit. But actually, I think we didn't say outfits. We just said gear. Like, okay, you needed bedroll, or the last creatures you fought destroyed your backpack, and your stuff is being held together by a sack. Well, suddenly there's a backpack that you could use. Yeah, and just all these things, and it comes in handy just to keep the story going, and just people to make sure they have everything they need rather than worrying.
Like
about
when I found a chest that had 150 gubbin points, I pulled out 15 barrels.
Yep. How do they work? We don't care.
Well, it turns out the chest is actually a wall room.
Okay. End of the sidetrack about the paranoia. There's the okay. Let's break down the paranoias really quick and tackle them really fast. Okay, paranoia of death, the paranoia of missing something, the paranoia of being the GM out to get you. Those are the three big ones that I can think of that are irrational. The ones that make sense: unfamiliar territory, dangerous feeling people, certain moods that the environment gives you. Not everything's gonna kill you.
Now, what if you're playing a character who is, I am a paranoid rogue?
Well, then,
you have to stay in character. That's all that means.
It just means it's more funny to listen to him sit there and say, I don't trust how he looks. He's shifty-eyed. I watched his twitch his finger. He's gonna kill me.
He's coming right first, not me.
He's coming right for us, and then you shoot the small child. Anyway, it'll be a character that can never enter a dark place or a small, cramped area.
Okay, or afraid every single time there's a door, he has to
check the door first.
Check everywhere aspect of the door. He has to make sure that he walks down to the 10-foot pole, tapping every square tile.
That's what that's for. In case no one knew what the 10-foot pole is for, it's for poking things from a long ways away.
And springing traps.
Literally, that is all it's for.
I thought that's what Mage Hand was for.
No,
because it can't really push. It can't put enough pressure, like on a pressure plate, because it requires 150 pounds to move a stone plate normally.
But the end result, what do we do about each of these? Let's start with the players out, the GMs out to get me. How do you resolve that kind of paranoia, in your opinion?
I think the biggest question is, how did it start in the first place?
Maybe you just started into a new group, and this person's last GM was a player killer, an absolute out to get you every single turn.
If that's the case, you have to kind of let them be paranoid. They work it out of their system by being with a decent GM. Just don't throw anything that you know will kill them out.
Okay, but what if you're not aware of this person being a paranoid freak?
They'll work out their issues. Ask other players. You know, if he's coming into the group, you should have a little background on him.
How about you, Kyle?
It's kind of hard to say. If you have a player that's paranoid that the GM's out to get me, show them in game that like if you're a good GM, you're gonna show them in game just throughout playing that you're a good GM. That not every action that you make is gonna have a negative repercussion.
Okay.
So that one kind of works its own way out, which most people that we play with don't ever think that way.
Okay. Now, what about the world is out to get me kind of aspect, like the one I said before, the top three? Okay.
The world's just too dangerous to anyone play in, basically.
Yeah. The way it's designed, everything should kill you. Kyle.
Hey.
That's a DM problem, and it seems like it might be a DM issue.
Okay.
The players need to say, hey, don't you think these are a little overpowered? And then it's like, what exactly? You need to recheck your challenge rating because there's something wrong here. Or maybe the DM's fudging his dice because there's no reason it should be.
Okay.
A good DM makes sure that it won't be overpowered.
Okay. Kyle, what about you? What's your thoughts on the Mr. I'm going to kill you with everything I have in my world?
I do agree that it's namely up to the DM on that one, but I don't know. I namely agree with John on that one.
Okay. Now, how about when it comes down to I'm going to miss something?
That one you kind of have to leave to the DM. Just have the DM say, well, you did all you could. You searched this. I mean, I know that there's not something in every room, and even I leave an area sometimes thinking, wow, I think I may have missed something. Like, for instance, in one of my last sessions with Jeremiah, I rolled I think it was a 32 perception on going over the room, and I couldn't find that there was a lever behind a cloak on a statue. I rolled that 32 trying to search the place over because we didn't find what we were looking for, or we found what we were looking for, but it felt like there could have been so much more there because of how little actually happened. So when we left, I had that feeling of like we probably missed something. When we came back, I found out we did miss something. I was like, wait, how did I miss that on a 32? I think he kind of threw it in there on the spot or had it planned, but just...
Well, honestly, you don't have dark vision. None of us had dark vision except for me.
Well, I did have the light spell, though. I was able to use light to be able to see things.
True, but the whole room wasn't lit. You understand what I'm saying? When you're doing your search on a 32, that's generally, you start from a central area and you move about in a small radius, and
Yeah. Technical jargon.
and you're being
Yeah.
vague. So you search the whole room rather than checking out the statue.
Okay, but that's still technical jargon.
Yeah.
What do you think, John, about the gubbins? I missed the gubbins.
The simplest way to make people not care, well, because it's really they care too much about the gubbins. That's what's happening. They care too much about getting the magic items. So what you do is you allow the characters to be able to create their own items. Simple. It's you just let them have a craft skill. Let the wizard, take his brew potion. Let him take his scribe scroll. Let him take his craft magic arms and armor.
Maybe they don't want to spend the time and the money to build it, and they just rather get it because it's a reward.
Well, they're gonna pay for it then, like with gold. Give them gold.
Okay.
I would actually say build your campaigns around not letting them find random items, but give them items through story.
Okay. Yeah, the through story is always fun, but another thing I have a problem with the Paranoia is it slows down a game exponentially. Like, it suddenly just stops the game. Like, okay, I check the room. There's nothing. I check it again. Nothing. I check it again.
What you do is you have to have your players say, well, if your players are checking the room, you ask them where.
Okay, but
Well, also another part of it is if a player rolls low on a perception check, they're gonna think, oh, like out of game, they're gonna metagame that, like, wow, I rolled low. I could, if I was higher, I might be able to find something.
Yeah. What you do is you say, before you roll, where are you checking in the room?
but that's not tactical. We're talking about it slows a game down.
Well, it's going to. I mean, you're trying to appease somebody's paranoid. It's going to take time.
Of course it is.
So you gotta cater to their feelings. I mean, in a way, it's like, well, it was in the zone, but you rolled poorly. If you want to tell them afterwards, I wouldn't though.
I would never tell them afterwards. I don't, and it's just really obnoxious when everyone keeps on slowing the game down. It's just okay. No, the corpse is not going to rise. No, the guy in the corner that's tied up is not the real bad guy. No, behind the curtain there's nothing except tapestries. Go ahead and tear every single painting, flip every single door, knock on every single wall.
That's what a take 20 is.
Okay, it's going to take forever. And every room that they do the take 20 or the ungodly roll, well, guess what? They don't find anything. Or maybe it turns out the guy who's held hostage is really the hostage. It's just people are too used to the tropes that occur.
Well, one thing you could do is, if you're seeing it happen in a game, explain it to the player. Say, hey, do you know anybody who would like go into a room, do something, and then spend 5 minutes searching that room in a place swarming with enemies? No. Or punish the player for doing that. They try and search a room, there's still stuff going on in the area, make something happen because they're taking that extra 2-3 minutes to do something. That's time enough for somebody to catch up to them.
Well, still, that is causing more paranoia.
True,
because
but
you're defeating the player from Paranoia. Yeah, John said, let's shoo them out of it. Let's kind of make sure that they get out of it, and put them into a sense state that there are places they feel paranoid and there's places they feel safe, like in your game. Okay, everyone, I was tired of talking to anybody. Anyone who was considered an assassin, anyone considered a thief, anyone in power, anywhere I could go that is different. If I'm not within my circle of friends and my circle of allies that are NPCs, I'm in danger. Okay, I had a place I felt safe, but but everywhere I went, I knew if there's somebody out to kill me or screw me or capture me because of small details. Now, reasons I should be afraid of. The sewers. Why? Because there's giant tentacle monsters there that are going to eat me, and I don't want to be dead. And killing one of those things took forever, and the amount of arsenals I had to use on my character were ridiculous.
Oh, and also just to mention, you were only in the game for so long. Some of the choices that you made, like actually with the character that was trying to get to Sean, she actually ended up turning around and joining the party later down the road.
Okay, but nonetheless,
So-
there was causes for me to be afraid of every little detail. There were points when John first started playing with me, everything he checked, everything he made sure was not going to kill him.
What? Well, first, when I first played, I was playing Boduk the Rad.
Yeah, but you were also paranoid because you didn't know my GMing style, and let alone how I made games.
Yeah, I'm used to slower games,
Yeah.
and it felt like there's like a lot of, what do you call it?
So fast that you can miss something?
Well, no, it was like not that. It was a lot of star wipe. You know what I'm saying? Like it went from one scene to the next rather than we fluidly, organically transition to the scene.
You're talking about the crawl. I narrate every minute that passes.
No, you don't. You don't narrate every minute.
No, I know I don't do that because it gets annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now you know me and I understand.
No,
like,
what I'm saying is like, so you walk to the tavern. You know, that's better than, you know, it's not quite as much as you walk 10 yards, make a perception check. You know, you get to the door of the tavern, what do? No, you walk to the tavern. It's like, well, I'm gonna make a perception check on the way. What do I see?
and I describes what you see.
Yeah.
If you want to get on with the story, I'm used to that. If you want to see something interesting, you go ahead and make the perception checks. But in the meantime, if you want to just get on with the story, by all means, just follow the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really railroad. You guys decide where to
Bullshit.
go. I don't railroad all the time.
Exactly.
You do background railroading.
Background, sort of.
You do what's called streamlining. Not railroad.
Oh, you didn't go to my dungeon I had planned. Well, that dungeon just grew legs and moved.
It's not.
It's now in your way.
Because you guys don't know any better. Every single time you think there's something going to happen. I mean, I don't do it all the time, but majority of the time
I see
do.
you're new to my DMing style.
Yeah. But people have fun with it. Regardless, it still doesn't make a story any lesser. It still makes the game fun. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
Okay, closing thoughts on this before we close this one out.
Paranoia, in the end, is something that kind of works itself out.
Mm-hmm.
You just need some time to adjust to a new group, a new play style, or buff out certain qualities either the GM or the player has until those paranoias are dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say the best way to deal with paranoia is to... Well, we go back to the idea of make it a safe environment.
Give them a reason to be safe in most places. And
Give them freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Make them feel free. Make them feel free, because if they're caged, they're going to feel paranoid.
Okay, well, I agree with you on that part, but also kind of easing them into understanding that you're not going to kill them, and when they are in that sense of security, you're not going to turn around and say, "Ha, you're in my trap now."
Unless you are...
Dun dun dun.
Oh no, they found me out. Oh my gosh.
Be careful, honey. That puppy has a knife.
Where to know it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, I think that will do it for this episode. Like, comment, subscribe below. If you have any questions for us, you can send them down in the comments or send them at our Gmail at justrolledalready@gmail.com. I'm Daryl.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm John.
Have a good day.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Bye.